Gridiron Grinder! Hut hut hike!
All right. It is
This
Friday
being is
night.
being recorded. What up, dude?
Gridiron Grinder time. Yes, thank you, James. And so tonight we are going to be talking about the worst first round draft picks by position on offense, minus the offensive line since 2000. I know that's kind of a lengthy winded title or whatever, but you get what I'm saying. We're looking at tight ends, wide receivers, running backs, and quarterbacks. Who were the first runs, the first ones, the worst ones picked in the first round since 2000? And we're going to kick it off tonight with tight ends. And so, did I explain all that right tonight, James?
I think so.
Maybe. Okay. Good
That's
to know
that's,
because
that's what I remember.
yeah, like I was telling you before the show, I got a sinus infection creeping in. I'm on all sorts of freaking drugs, and I'm a little loopy. So, all right, so yeah, so we're gonna kick things off with tight end tonight. And when you think of tight ends drafted in the first round, just naturally there aren't going to be that many, right? And so some years you don't even have any taken in the first round, and then some years you might have like two or three. It's usually not like any more than that. And um, so we're gonna sift through the list. I've got some guys that I want to talk about, and I'm sure you do too. And we can pull up their stats and we can just kind of talk them out as we go. And so one of them, in fact, I got to look him up right now because I didn't get his stats before the show here. One of the guys that I think is worth mentioning, but he's not horrible. He's just on the list of like sort of the bottom end is Dustin Keller, who was drafted in 2008. You might remember him from the New York Jets. The dude ended up playing 72 games in his career. He started 48, not horrible. He had about 2000, well, about 2,876 receiving yards and 17 touchdowns. And so that's not bad. It's just, I guess, when you look at a first round tight end, he only played for 5 seasons, right? And so you probably want to squeeze out some more than that. But like I said, not horrible in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, I hadn't even gotten to him yet. I'm just like I'm stuck on Kellen Winslow because of how much hype he had and, and what
Oh, you're breaking up on me, bud.
ended up happening.
Oh no, you
Like you
there?
remember what happened with like sexual assault and right, my internet blows. Yeah, I'm here. You got me?
I got you now. Yeah.
All right. My internet is kind of being shitty right now. But like I was saying with Colin Winslow, like he like I'm I'm trying to remember exactly what the legal trouble
He,
was, but
I can't tell if you're talking. You keep breaking up on me. Sorry.
oh man, I'm sorry about that.
That's not
So
your
he
fault.
so yeah, he was arrested fleeing a mobile home park in California. He was charged with first degree burglary. Um, and then he was on bail and he was jailed after being arraigned on his bail was revoked for two new counts of lewd conduct and one count each of battery of an elder and willful cruelty to an elder. Um, he ended up
Yeah,
being
he sounds like
convicted
a real winner.
convicted of rape and a lewd act in public place, conduct and indecent exposure. Um, it's just like he ended up being a real winner. Like he came out and like you can't fault him for his for injuries, but he played his first year. He played 2 games and then tore his ACL.
Yeah, but do you remember why he played 2 games?
No,
All right, so he played 2 games because he came in after he got drafted, talking all sorts of shit, and they were saying he wasn't like, wasn't the clear starter at tight end, and they wanted him to play special teams, and he got fucking injured on like a kickoff or a kick return or something, and that like knocked him out for the year. And so it's like, okay, dude, like if you're going to come in, you better be like a beast where you don't even play on special teams. Like right off the bat, he like put himself in the hole. So, and then he had all sorts of like public things. I remember like that one thing where he was like in the locker room and he's like, I'm a fucking soldier. And everybody was like, what are you doing, dude? Like, it's just so
Yeah.
stupid. I mean, he did have
And
some productive years, like 2007, he had 1,100 yards, but it's like he just was such a, I don't know, just a shit bag overall.
so, see, I thought he tore his ACL. I forgot that he broke his fibula
Yeah, broke
and
his leg
then
on the special teams play.
on
Yeah.
this broke his leg, and then he made a complete recovery, and then was in a motorcycle
Oh,
accident and tore his ACL in,
yeah, that was the next
in the
year. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
in the off season, and then he had 6 weeks, a 6 week staph infection from the injury.
Yeah. And I mean, so after that, he did end up having some decent seasons, 800 yards, 1,100 yards. You know, uh, 2008 was a little bit lower, but looks like he missed some time that year. Another 800, 700, 700. So, I mean, when he played, yeah, he had potential, but man, he just was, I don't know, a little bit of a prima donna, full of himself, and got himself into way too much trouble. And then obviously off the field, he was just a straight up piece of shit too. So, some of those legal things sound pretty fucking nasty, man.
Holy shit! So 2008, he missed time in 2008 because he had a staph infection. They had in like a few year span, the Browns had 7 cases of staph infections.
Oh man, I kind of remember that. Yeah, that was pretty messed up, man.
And then he criticized the GM for not fixing the infection problem and was suspended. And then the owner stepped in and apologized and rescinded the suspension.
All
Wow.
right.
Damn.
So, all right, the next guy I got is OJ Howard from Alabama. The dude was drafted in 2017. He ended up playing in 72 games, 56 starts, but the dude only had 1,882 receiving yards. He ended up having 17 touchdowns with that, which is not bad. But, when you look at the hype that he had coming out of Alabama, he just like never put it together, man. And I think, some of the reason he has this many yards is that
Mm-hmm.
teams were continuing to give him chances because he just on the field, man, he was just not a threat. And it's like I think that Tampa Bay in particular was trying to kind of just force feed him to get him to do something. And, I don't know. Just an underwhelming career, right? So he after Tampa Bay, he went to Houston for a year, and then that was it. And the next guy I would put on here is Tyler Eifert.
Oh,
I liked Tyler. Oh, can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. You broke up, so I thought you had finished,
Oh,
but
yeah. Did you want to comment on OJ Howard? Do you remember him?
I remember him. He isn't he. I want to. He just came like retired like not too long ago.
So
So I mean,
2022 was
he
his
had,
last year.
yeah, but I think from what I remember of OJ Howard, he was more of a blocking tight end
Oh
than
man, he was
receiving.
supposed to be a receiving tight end when he came out of Alabama.
No, I'm not saying that he was what he was supposed to, but I remember him being more of a as like when he was playing being more of a blocking tight end, or that's how they used him.
Yeah, they might have used him that way because I'm trying to remember what the other guy was that they had. Oh shit, what was his name? Because the thing is, when they drafted OJ Howard, they had another tight end that kind of like emerged as their receiving tight end. And OJ Howard could like never beat him out of the spot. I forget the guy's name. I had him on a fantasy team years ago, but um, man, what the hell was his name?
Um,
I'll find it. I will find it. I'm determined to find it.
so we see tight ends they had with. Why am I not even seeing fucking OJ Howard on Tampa Bay fucking roster?
Oh, Cameron Brate.
Yeah, but here's the fucked up thing. So I was going back looking at Tampa Bay's rosters, and like they didn't even have fucking OJ Howard on it.
Yeah, that's messed up.
There we go.
It's
So
messed
he was.
up, man. It's done messed up. Yeah, and I guess
So they
Cameron
have him
Brate
playing.
didn't end up being like their top tight end, but he definitely chewed into it.
Yeah. So he was drafted in 2017. The first time I even see him on the roster is 2019.
Hmm. Freaky. All right, I'm going to roll to Tyler Eifert.
All right, you rolled the Tyler Eifert.
So Tyler Eifert coming out of Notre Dame was hugely, hugely hyped up. Like, I mean, he was one of those, this is like the best tight end prospect in many years kind of guys when he got drafted out of Notre Dame. And I mean, when you watched him play at Notre Dame, oh my God, he was phenomenal. Like he was just clutch, made plays all the time. And he gets drafted by Cincinnati. First year, 15 games, 15 starts, 445 yards. It was a letdown, but at least there was like potential there, right? From then on, it was a disaster. Hurt in 2014, bounced back with a tease in 2015, had 615 receiving yards and 13 touchdowns. Looked like he was going to finally live up to that draft bill. And then from there on, it was like nothing but injuries again. Missed half the season the next year, almost the whole season the year after, almost the whole season the year after that. And then in 2019, he finally plays 16 games again, but it was obvious at that point that the injuries had taken a toll and he was never going to be what anybody wanted him to be. Closed out his career with a year in 2020 with the Jags. And so, you know, it's tough, right? He had 2,500 yards, 26 touchdowns, not horrible, but when you think about what the expectations were for him, it was just a bummer. And it was not an off-field thing or whatever, like some of the stuff we're talking about with Kellen Winslow. It was purely injuries that ended up kind of tanking his whole trajectory for his career, unfortunately. And then the last guy I had, James, was Hayden Hurst. And, you know, I think he just played last year, I want to say, with Cincinnati. Or no, was it it was a couple years ago with Cincinnati. Last year he was with Carolina, and then or no, 2 years ago Carolina. Last year it was with the Chargers. He got drafted by Baltimore, played a couple seasons, they let him go, went to Atlanta for a couple seasons. He was a guy that when he came out of college, he was an older draftee. I forget what his deal was, like whether he played some other sport or something, but he was supposed to be an athletic tight end that was going to be a receiving tight end in the NFL. Not much of a blocker. He turned out to not be very good at receiving. Well, not I don't want to say it that way. Not nearly as good at receiving as they thought he was, but he worked on his blocking enough to find a way to stick around for 7 seasons in the NFL. And so it's like, you know, I definitely give the guy some credit, but you know, he wasn't what I think teams were expecting him to be. I guess
Yeah.
that's
So So he was 22 when he started college in 2015. The reason why he was 3 years after he graduated high school because he was playing minor league baseball for
There you
those
go.
3 years.
That's what it was.
And he walked on to the South Carolina football team. He was a 17th round draft pick in baseball. I'm trying to see what position he played in baseball. He was a pitcher, and he gave up baseball because he got the yips.
Okay.
His only minor league pitching appearance, he walked 5 batters, threw 2 wild pitches in 1/3 of an inning.
Okay.
So that's why he came into college late. So when you look at Hayden Hurst, like the first time he started more than 10 games in the season was 2022. And that's the only time he started 10 games in the season.
Yeah, I know early on in Baltimore, he was in a 2 tight end set. I think he was partly with Max Williams, who we mentioned before the show. And I forget the other guy that they had in Baltimore also. And then when he went to Atlanta, I want to
Mark
say
Andrews.
that was no, before Mark Andrews. And maybe Mark Andrews was there towards the end, but I'm thinking of
like his first. So Hayden Hurst's first year in the NFL, they had Mark Andrews, Nick Boyle,
Okay.
Hayden Hurst, and Max Williams.
Oh, Nick Boyle was the other guy I was thinking of. Yeah, okay. But yeah, obviously Mark Andrews we all know him. He's solid. And then I think in Atlanta it was similar. Like he was playing with Austin Hooper or somebody else, and so he wasn't really expecting to be their top guy, or at least for one of the years. Maybe the other year he was expected to be the top guy, and it just kind of never really played out that way. But it's tough, man. When you look at all the tight ends on the list, a lot of them that were drafted in the first round had significant contribution to the team. Even when you go all the way back to 2000, you had Anthony Becht with the Jets, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the St. Louis Rams, and the Arizona Cardinals. The dude only put up, like, I don't know, what's this, like 1,500 receiving yards in his career. But the dude played 167 games and was, like obviously a great blocking tight end, man. And so, it's just, yeah.
So to close the loop on a Hayden Hurst, his 2 years in Atlanta, 2020 and 2021, they had really nobody at tight end in 2020 besides Hayden. They had Jaden Graham, Jared Pickney, and Luke Stalker. Okay. And this is leading me perfectly into my last bust, and I'm calling him a bust. It's early in his career. In 2021 was when Atlanta drafted Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, and I figured it was still kind of early to call him a bust. Plus, he did have the 1 year with 1,000 receiving yards, right?
He had the 1 year with 1,000 receiving yards. The talk about Kyle Pitts when he was drafted in 2021,
the hype was so high. Yeah,
he was so hyped. He was basically.
Well, and he went 4th overall.
Yeah, he was basically unanimously the perfect NFL prospect. Everybody, all the draft gurus were rating him, not rating him as a first round prospect, but rating him as Hall of Fame.
Yeah, Hall of Fame right off the bat. Yep.
Yeah. He was super hyped. And then he comes out his first season and has 1,000 yards.
Yeah, barely any touchdowns, but 1,000 yards.
Then he follows it up. Now it's only in 10 games with less than 400 yards. And since then, he hasn't done shit.
Yeah, he just has not hit his stride, unfortunately. I do give him some cred for the 1,000-yard season, and I think we need a couple more years out of him because they're clearly not giving up on him. But, for being picked fourth overall at tight end, oh, that's fucking nuts, man. And I think honestly, I think they set him up to fail by drafting a tight end that high. But neither here nor there. It's done. It happened.
And the reason why he had 1,000 yards is because they basically had nobody.
Yeah,
on
easy to force feed him. Yep.
On that fucking roster. You had in 2021, their wide receivers were Christian Blake, Frank Darby, Russell Gage, Tajay Sharp, Olamide Zacchaeus, whatever. And then they had like no tight ends. Like it's hard not to get 1,000 yards with Matt Ryan as your quarterback, and he has nobody to throw it to.
All right, my man, we're up for a 10-minute timeout. I'll hit you up in 10, okay? We're back. And so we're wrapping up the tight ends here. I did want to say one thing because I know I mentioned Dustin Keller earlier and talked about how his stats looked pretty good, but he had a short career. I did confirm his career ended early because of injuries. He ended up deciding to retire early because he was having knee problems and other things going on. And so that one was a bummer because, man, he was a guy that was putting up 600 something yards a year, not like lighting the world on fire, but in tight end land, if you can do that consistently every year, that's actually really good. And so that was kind of a bummer when you see an injury take a guy down like that. And so up next, we're going to go on to wide receivers, which the list is a lot more lengthy, right? This is like on the offensive side of the ball, the most positions drafted in the first round. Maybe, I don't know, other than offensive linemen or whatever, but out of the positions we're covering tonight is what I'm referring to. So, and I'm just grabbing my notes. Yeah,
right.
You want to kick us through with
wide
someone, James?
Receivers. The first one I had on the list was Josh Doctson.
Oh, you don't like Josh Doctson?
2016, 22nd overall. For his total career, he played 2 full seasons, had a total of 1,100 yards in the 4 total seasons he played. He played in 34 games, 8 touchdowns. Really didn't do shit.
What if I told you I can name 7 guys that had less stats than that?
Oh, I'm still going down the list. That's like the end of my list.
Yeah. I just think that's how crazy the wide receiver thing is. There's so many guys that were like basically 1 year and that's it. And then with Oxen, I agree that when he came out, there was, I think there was a lot of potential and it just never played out that way, man. I was excited for him and, I don't remember who they had at quarterback back then, but it's like after a couple of years, you can't really make that the excuse anymore. I mean, he got up to 500 and something yards 2 years in a row, and then that was it.
Yeah, like 2 years, 4 years. Those 2 years in a row, he had 500 yards. Played in 2 games as a rookie and 1 game in 2019. I was going to look up who the quarterback was then.
Oh, this is interesting. So he retired from football and relocated to Rwanda, where he plans to open a high-end vegan restaurant. He opted out of the 2020 season for COVID concerns. Signed with the Cardinals to the practice squad, was released in October 21, and now he just focuses on humanitarian work.
So his rookie year, they had Cousins, and then it was between Josh Johnson and Mark Sanchez his second year at Washington.
Yeah. Well, that's a bummer. All right. Should we talk about the bad boy RJ Soward?
We can get to him.
We can get to him? As in now or later?
we can get to him. That's I'll do two. You do two.
Okay.
AJ Jenkins.
I was just reading about him when we were on our break. uh,
3 years in the league, started 3 games. San Francisco, Kansas City, Kansas City. He played in 3 games, had 1 target as a rookie. He had a total of 33 targets his entire career, 223 yards, no touchdowns. I expect a little bit more than that from a first rounder. Granted, he was a later first rounder, but still a first round wide receiver. In 2012 or 2000,
yeah, 2012.
he
Yeah.
was 2012. He was drafted by San Francisco. 2013, he was 14. He was with Kansas City. I just wanted to look up who.
Yeah, with AJ
team.
Jenkins, man, what I read about him was just it was ugly. It was that he didn't sign his rookie contract right away, showed up out of shape. Guys were calling him soft because he was always complaining about like nagging injuries that weren't, what other players thought were serious. And basically, people just said he was like too weak for the NFL game. And I mean, obviously it didn't work for him, unfortunately.
So in 2013, that was part of the Alex Smith Chiefs that year. Alex Smith had 3,300 yards passing. Nobody really to throw the ball to. I mean, it's pre Kelsey. They had Donnie Avery, Dwayne Bowe, Junior Hemingway, Dexter McCluster, Anthony Fasano, Richard Gordon, and Sean McGrath at as receivers slash tight ends. In 2014, that was again still the Alex Smith Chiefs. They really didn't have. Oh, he got hurt that year. That might be why he only played in 9 games, but he still only started 3 games in his entire career. So I mean, that's
Yeah.
pretty bad for a player that's drafted in the first round.
Oh, definitely, man. Definitely. I agree. All right, now I can go to RJ Soward.
Now you can go to RJ Sauer.
So RJ Soward was a first round pick in 2000, and he was drafted by the Jaguars. He only played the 1 year, 13 games, 2 starts, had 154 yards and 1 touchdown. He ended up basically fizzling out of the league for violating the league's substance abuse policy in 2001 and then again in 2002, at which time he was indefinitely suspended. The interesting thing about him, which it took me some digging to find out, is that apparently, if you want to maybe feel some pain for the guy, or maybe you don't. Apparently, his brother was killed in a prison murder, and he was like on the record basically saying that his family was traumatized, and he admitted basically heavy alcohol abuse, even being drunk at like key moments during his NFL career, which led to the suspensions. Basically, it was a life event that just totally got in his head and he could never recover from. After the NFL indefinitely suspended him, he did go and play in the Canadian Football League for the Toronto Argonauts. But he never made it back to the NFL, man. And so that's one where on the surface it looks really nasty because you see the substance abuse stuff, and then you kind of see that there's like more to the story, right? It's not like he just got with a bad group of guys and was doing bad things. He had like a horrible life event and basically the drugs and alcohol became kind of like his escape from reality, unfortunately, and then it just kind of didn't work out for him from there, huh? All right,
Yeah.
and then the next guy I had, James, was Rashawn Woods. In He was drafted in 2004, and he played one season for the San Francisco 49ers. They've unfortunately had a few of these guys. Um, and so 14 games, zero starts, seven receptions, 160 yards, one touchdown. That's all the guy got. Um, he did have some injuries, but was overall just regarded as a straight up bust.
And I didn't hear the name because my network fucking blows.
Rashawn
Which one did you
Woods,
say? Oh, yeah.
2004. And I've got
Which
two
one do I
more.
want to go
Or
to?
actually, I've got three more,
I'll
but
stay. I'll,
yeah, you do yours and then we'll see who's left.
all right. I'm going to stay in the 2000 draft. Drafted 21st overall. Sylvester Morris. 14 games, started 15, 700 yards, 3 touchdowns, nothing really to write home. First round pick by the Chiefs. I'm really bagging on the Chiefs today, I think.
Well, hey, it's not, I don't know, is it coincidence or is it their fault? I don't know.
And there's so many other ones that I want to go to, and I'm trying to think of which one to go to.
Well, while you're talking about Sylvester Morris, I did look him up, and a lot of his was injury related. So
Yeah, his was injury related, but still.
he had repeated knee injuries the first couple seasons, and the Chiefs kept him on the roster for 4 years. And then it was basically after the knee injury, he ended up having a hip injury, and that was it. They couldn't wait any longer for him to finally come out and make it happen, man.
Yeah, and his Wikipedia page is 3 paragraphs.
Okay.
Apparently, after leaving the Chiefs, he was able to sign with the Bucks in 2004, and then he sustained a season-ending injury in the offseason. I mean, yeah, he had a lot of knee injuries in his career,
Yeah.
but still, like, I might be being a little bit hard on him for it, but because
Well,
I do.
yeah, you're just calling it out. It's a bummer, but you got to put the bust on him. It's just that it was an injury related bust, most likely, is what it seems like.
Yeah. Which one do I want to go to? Which one?
I got two more, so if you want me to jump in, I can jump in.
Well, I'm going to go to 2003 draft.
Okay.
The number 2 pick overall by the Detroit Lions. Charles Rogers. So first of all, Charles Rogers, people that don't remember, he ended up becoming ineligible.
Sorry. I keep going. I just was making sure I had my shit right here.
So he was at USC. He ended up becoming ineligible because he got money or something as part of the investigation there.
Lit it up at Michigan State.
Oh, wait, no. I'm thinking of, wow, holy shit.
Oh, you're thinking Mike Williams?
I'm thinking Mike Williams, but I'm going to stick with Charles Wow.
Because you said Charles Rogers 2003, so I was like, oh, all right, here we go. That was where I was going to go. But
Yeah, why am I
see, the thing is,
thinking?
Mike Williams ended up actually putting up some stats over however many years. You know, it wasn't great, but it wasn't like, less than 500 yards like most of these guys on the list.
All right. I got like I had for some reason no, I'm not. I was confusing in my head Charles Rogers and Mike Williams. I'm still going to say that Charles Rogers was a bust. So he played for at Michigan State. I just had the wrong position right around the same
Yeah, you had
years
Mike Williams 2005, USC.
in my head, but I'm still going with
Yeah.
Charles Rogers.
Yeah, your
So
USC thing had me confused for a minute, but you said Charles Rogers 2003. So I'm like, wait, this is the guy I was going to go to.
yeah, yeah. So no. I was talking about Charles Rogers. I met Charles Rogers. I just got fucked up in my head and started
Sure.
talking about Mike Williams because Mike
Yeah.
Williams. As I was saying Charles Rogers, I was thinking Mike Williams stats in my head. Anyways,
Yeah, Charles Rogers was rough, right?
he
15
had
games, 440 yards.
he had 2,800 yards in college. Lit it up at fucking Michigan State. He drafted number 2 overall, and one like why was like so he had 200. Okay, he
He
broke
kept
his
getting hurt, man. Yeah, he broke his
yeah
collarbone, and then I think he
broke his
broke it again,
collarbone.
man.
He was in 2005. He missed a lot of games because he was suspended 4 games for a third violation of the NFL substance abuse policy.
Yeah. He
In
had off the field
2004,
issues. Yeah.
2004, he broke his clavicle. It, so,
It's same thing from 2003, wasn't it?
so that was the weird thing. He broke his clavicle. Okay, I was thinking collarbone. So he broke his clavicle again, knocked him out for the season.
So the clavicle basically is the collarbone.
Yeah, but no, reading it. So
Okay.
then the Lions let him go home, which Matt Millen, a fucking idiot, has said that it was a mistake to let him be away from the team for that long a time.
Yeah.
2005, he was suspended for his third violation of the substance abuse policy. And the Lions then filed suit claiming that his drug suspension violated a clause in his contract, and he was obligated to return $10 million of the 14.2. And then he only played in 9 games that season, started 3 of them, inactive for 4 of them. What that does not mathematically make sense. This is fucked up. That doesn't make sense. So he was suspended for 4 games. He was suspended for 4. He played in 9, declared inactive for 4. That's 17 games. There was only 16 games that season.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
So something's fucked up there. Either way, he only had 197 yards in that game. And then Lions brought in a new coach. I don't know, it was like their 7th coach of the 2000s in 2006. And they released Rodgers because of his humdrum effort during training camp.
Yeah.
He worked out for some teams. He wasn't signed because his 40-yard dash by then in 2006 was 4.8 seconds. Ended up having to pay him
How slow was it?
4.8.
Yeah, I was just watching it. It translated from a 4.28 to a 4.8.
Yeah, ended up having to pay $8.5 million back to the Lions, but he never paid them.
Then he went to jail. I don't know if he went to prison, but he went to jail, right?
Filed bankruptcy. So here's the thing with Rodgers. The Lions drafted him second overall. He had all of the signs of having a drug problem, and he was still drafted second overall. He
Yeah.
tested positive for marijuana twice at Michigan State, tested um, at the NFL Combine, had excess water in his system.
Yep. We all know what that means.
Yeah. He was arrested and charged with assault and battery of his girlfriend, but the charges were dropped. And then he had to go to attend drug court or face jail time after violating his probation in 2008. He was jailed he ended up violating his probation, DUI, after they found him unresponsive behind the wheel, and then passed out from drinking at a restaurant, which was a violation of sobriety court order, and that's what he went to jail for. Unfortunately, he died at a young age. Wow, I didn't know all that shit. So he died of liver failure. He apparently had liver cancer and was in need of a liver transplant. Wow.
Yeah, fuck. I haven't had to think about that in a long time about him, but yeah, fuck, that sucks.
That's
just the whole thing. You look at the massive amounts of potential, and this guy just went fucking dark side, and it just, he went dark side to the end, man. It fucking just everything fell apart.
Yeah. So the thing with them, with this, and I'm back in the early 2000s. I'm trying to think who their quarterback was for the Spartans.
Joey Harrington. Oh, for the Spartans.
Yeah, because I remember Rodgers' suspension. He was suspended for the drug use, and I think the quarterback was suspended. It was
Jeff Smoker.
I think it was Smoker. And it was after the Iowa game that they both were suspended.
Sounds about right.
For smoking marijuana. I personally don't think that marijuana is an issue with them. With NFL players, like I don't have an issue with it personally. So some of the records that Rodgers made in college, he broke Kirk Gibson's touchdowns in a career record. He record for most receiving yards in a single game. He had 13 consecutive games with a touchdown. He had won the Biletnikoff and the Paul Warfield Trophy. Outside receiver and unanimous All-American. And it was Smoker. So like he kind of emerged as a top draft prospect after the Notre Dame game. Say that 5 times fast. He outjumped 2 defenders to catch a pass at the back of the end zone and somehow kept his left foot in bounds. I remember that catch too. I was huge into college football back then. Holy shit. He had 8 children.
That's a lot.
He had 8 children from 4 women. 2 of the children were born before he graduated high school. Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, sad story. All right. Can I take you to my last guy?
You can take us to the last guy.
All right. I mean, if you got more guys, that's fine. But I had Charles Rodgers and one more, and so my last guy on the list is Kevin White, who was a first-round draft pick by the Chicago Bears in 2015. Or was it 2016? Oh man, I'm messing myself up now. 2015. He was drafted 7th overall. And I know that early on, I think it was his rookie year, he had a stress fracture in his shin. And so he missed all of 2015. And then when he came back, he had nagging injuries. Basically could not get healthy with Chicago. He played 3 seasons with Chicago, had 14 games with them, 5 starts, less than 300 total yards, 0 touchdowns. Goes to San Francisco for a year, 3 games, 0 stats. Goes to New Orleans for 2 years, 13 games, 3 starts, like 112 yards or whatever. I'm probably doing my math wrong here. Ends up finishing his career after 6 seasons, I guess technically 7 in the league, but he only really played 6. 0 touchdowns for the number 7 overall pick, man. I mean, it's crazy that he could have played for that long and never gotten in the end zone. And he could have played for that long and never got over 400 total yards, man. I mean, it's just like, how does a guy stay in the league for that long without anything ever happening for him, man? And so I know the injuries early on were an issue, but man, that to me is bust written all over it.
Yeah, I had one more.
Go to it. Go to it.
And that he was, what year was he? So in 2016, 23rd overall, Laquan Treadwell.
Oh, fucking Laquan Treadwell. Yeah.
Like, so he played in 9 seasons, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah,
6,
and
7,
I didn't include him because he somehow got over 1,000 career receiving yards. I mean,
yes.
comparing him to like Kevin White, it's like, how does this happen with these guys? I don't even know, man.
He averaged 11.2 yards. Averaged 11.2 yards. He had 1 season. He had 2. First season, he played in 9 games, started 1 of them, had 1 reception. Played in 7 games, 200 yards, 20 receptions. His next season, he had his high in receptions at 35, at 300 yards. Then 184 yards. Then 49 yards. And 400. Oh, he got over 400. Maybe that's why you didn't include him. 434 yards, 42, 16, 0. 0 games, 0 receptions, 0 yards, just all zeros.
It was amazing that people kept throwing darts at him after his 4 years in Minnesota, right? But they were doing it because of the first round draft pedigree, and just that they thought he was this like freak of nature, that it was going to happen for them, even though it didn't happen in Minnesota. Because after Minnesota, he spent 1 year at Atlanta, 1 year at Jacksonville, 1 year at Seattle, 1 year at Baltimore, and 1 year at Indy. That is way too many teams to be playing with. And it was fucking Indy last year, man.
Yeah. So with Treadwell, like, and there's probably people like we're missing on this list because there's so many wide receivers in the first round. It's like next to impossible to look them all up. So his first professional touchdown was in his 3rd season.
Yeah. I mean, Kevin White never even made it there, but yeah. For a first round pick, as a team owner or a GM or a coach, you're really bummed about that, because you're thinking this guy's going to alter the landscape of your team and where you're going and the success you're going to have, and then it just doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this, though. As I was going through the draft history there were no first round picks in 2008. And I just want to go back and double check this, right? No first round
I
draft
saw
picks
that.
at wide receiver in 2008, despite Jordy Nelson, Eddie Royal, Deshaun Jackson, and there were a lot more. There were a lot more, but those three, when you look back in retrospect, you would think at least Jordy Nelson and Deshaun Jackson could have been
No,
first round picks, right?
there was a reason why Deshaun Jackson had a first round grade, but there was something, I can't remember what it was, but there was something about him that kept him from being a first round pick. Like there's some kind of controversy or something he did.
Yeah, probably coming out of Cal.
Yeah,
Um,
there's
yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's just weird looking at some of the names from that draft class, and you're like, wow, I can't believe not one of them snuck into the first round. Pierre Garcon, of course, he was kind of, it took a couple of years for him to start lighting it up in Indy.
small frame during the pre-draft
Steve
period.
Johnson had some good years, but yeah.
Why am I? I'm not seeing anything. I'm not finding anything, but I remember something about him, some issue or something. But
I
when
don't
you
even
look at,
remember. I mean, he was just a straight burner, and so maybe that was part of it is that they thought, he can only run deep routes.
so, but in that draft, that first round, I think maybe that draft was just loaded with talent. I'm
Non-wide
looking,
receiver talent.
yeah. So, okay. So you had Jake Long, Chris Long, Matt Ryan. Oh, we'll talk about that one in a second. Vernon Golson, Jared Mayo, Ryan Clady, Jonathan Stewart, Dominique Rogers Cromartie, Akib Talib, Chris Johnson. Yeah, had a lot of good players in the first round.
Yeah, and I mean, you can't go back and redraft it, right? But you know what I'm saying. It just seems strange that,
Mm-hmm.
like you can understand that there was a couple year period in like the 2010s where you didn't have first round running backs because teams just devalued them that much. But I don't really ever remember a period of time where teams were devaluing not tight ends, devaluing wide receivers like that, where there was a whole year where there wasn't any in the first round.
So you had 15 linemen taken in the first round.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Wow. Offensive, defensive linemen. You want to throw linebackers in there. There was two linebackers taken. There were only 31 picks in the first round that year because New
Okay.
England forfeited their first round pick. I think that was the Spygate.
Yeah, it must have been Spygate, one of their
Yep,
controversies.
that was Spygate.
Seems like every time we do this, man, I get like some raging storm outside.
All right. So we got 6 minutes remaining. So I think we just stick with the wide receivers for that.
Sure.
And we go to,
Running backs are next, my man.
I know, but we're not going to have in 6 minutes, we're not going to be able to talk about running backs.
Oh, you're looking for another wide receiver, you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like one I
Yeah, I
want to
mean
call a
any
bust.
any of the Lions non Calvin Johnson first round picks. Roy Williams, I know he had some stats, but he was overall a bust for us. Just thankfully we were able to fleece Dallas on that trade.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course Mike Williams, which you talked about,
But Mike Williams, like when you look at Mike Williams' stats, it's not actually that bad.
No, and that's what I was saying, because he did bounce around on some teams, man.
I'm just looking, and I'm going to call this person a bust, and I'm not thinking he's a total complete bust, but because of where he was picked and who was picked right after him.
Sure.
In the 2020 draft, Jalen Reagor was picked 21.
Yeah,
Justin
Jalen Reagor.
Jefferson was picked 22.
Yeah, Jalen Reagor's had a rough run. And I didn't include him because I thought we were maybe getting kind of like, to the point where maybe you got to give him a little bit more time. But yeah, he obviously got bounced off of his original team that drafted him, which is a bad sign. Trying to pull him up. But I did keep him off my list because he does have a 1,000 yards, and we had like 6 or 7 guys with less than 400. So
Yeah, but he has 1,000 total yards.
correct.
But
we have 6 or 7 guys with less than 400 total yards.
Right. But the reason and the issue I have with Jalen Reagor is the fact that he was drafted literally right before Justin Jefferson, who had 1,400 yards his rookie year.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it sucks when you miss that pick.
Yeah. And that bugs me. Like, how can your scouting be that off? Yeah, he has a little bit of time, and it
was off for a lot of teams. Otherwise, Justin Jefferson would have gone in the top 5.
Yeah. But just like to have like that choice between Jefferson and Reagor, and you pick Reagor, and I just have that issue.
Philly's been so good at stacking talent. They're like, look, we're just going to give this one to someone else. We don't even know what to do with all these picks.
Like that draft, like another one that could be a bust is Henry Ruggs.
Yep.
He has more than 1,000 yards, but 12th overall to the Raiders, and he's
he's out
of the league.
Yeah, he definitely a disappointment.
He had some goods. Well, he only played in 2 years.
Yeah, because he got in trouble, man. That's where I'm saying he's a disappointment.
Before he was out of the league.
Yeah, he did have some stats and some potential. He just had too much off the field
fucking bust. Yeah, he's out of the league because he was jailed for like a DUI something.
Yeah, and hang on. I want to get the full thing here because he was the dude. Didn't he kill somebody in a car accident?
Yeah,
he was driving.
Yeah, so in 2021,
how fast was he going? He got a DUI, but I thought he was going like crazy, 156 fucking miles an hour while he was drinking and driving. It's fucked, man. That's, and so he is in prison.
There's evidence shortly after showing that at approximately, he was 156, slammed into the end of a Toyota RAV4. Holy fucking shit.
Pretty bad, man. Pretty bad.
The person burned to death with her
Yeah,
dog.
that's fucking horrible, man. And we're less than a minute here.
Yeah. Holy
So when we come back,
shit.
we will shift it to running backs, my man.
All right, sounds good.
Hit you in 10. Boom. Okay, now that the recording is in progress, we can talk about the running back bust candidates. And so, James, as I was telling you briefly on our break, I only came up with 4 guys on this list, and 2 of them were injury related. The other 2 you could say for sure were busts. And then I think you can probably like add a couple other guys in the mix. But where do you want to start? Do you want me to give you my 2 that were injury related, since those ones were kind of given, you know, it's like an asterisk on them. You're a bust, but you freaking broke your shit, right?
Well, I think I'm going to mention my one bust that's not really a bust, and then
Sure.
you can go to the injury related. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, motherfucker, you suck. All right, go on.
Yeah, but is he still on a team or no?
I don't know.
And
I
and and
don't
what are
think so.
his? All right, hang on. Let me look him up because
He has almost
here's the
2,000
thing.
yards
Yeah. The thing is,
in.
he's got almost 2,000 yards rushing, plus he's got some receiving yards. Um, I mean, the dude's got okay, so he's got almost 2,000 yards rushing and almost 800 yards receiving, and so. When you look at him, I get it. He's a bust in your mind because of the way it worked with you in fantasy football the one year. And I
Mhm.
think overall, if you draft a running back in the first round, you're expecting more than this. But I guess I also curtailed my list at 2020 because I think these guys still have time to see where they go.
No,
Um,
I'm fine. No need to really talk about it. I was just saying that
oh, okay,
he's
okay. You
like
just
I
needed
said,
to spit
he's
it out there.
he's a
I was
bust, but
just,
he's not
yeah.
really a bust.
Okay, I was just saying compared to some of the guys on my list, I don't know, but all right. And so I'll give you my first 2 that were injury related busts, is how we're going to say it. Just to put it politely. The first one is Chris Perry, who was drafted in 2004. He played for 4 years for the Cincinnati Bengals. He was actually in the league for 5 years, but he missed all of 2007. And so in that time he played 35 games, started 9, only was able to amass 606 rushing yards and 83 reception yards. He ended up with 2 rushing touchdowns, 2 receiving touchdowns, but definitely not what the Cincinnati Bengals were expecting when they drafted the guy. And for him, it was where is it at? I just had it. He had a leg fracture that basically ended his career. And so, you look at it 4 or 5 years in the league because he missed the one year. And, the leg fracture was really the thing that took him out, but he just was kind of a bust regardless of that, is what it boils down to. And then my next guy is David Wilson, who was drafted in 2012 by the Giants. He ended up playing 21 games, started 6. He had only 504 yards on the ground. And let's see, receiving, he had 42 yards receiving. I mean, barely any stats there. I would say the difference between him and Chris Perry is that this guy had serious neck injuries or a serious neck injury that caused him to retire. And so, you could maybe say, oh, his rookie year, it was just a rough rookie year. In second year, we were waiting for him to kind of like get it going. Well, the second year, like never got there, right? Because like 4 or 5 games in, he had the neck injury and that was it. So those guys are busts, but we're going to put like kind of asterisks next to him for the injury regard, if that makes sense. And then I got 2 other guys, but did you have
Yeah.
anyone you wanted to jump to? Oh, did I lose you?
I'm
Oh, you're there.
really still trying to find.
All
No,
right,
I'm here.
I'll,
I'm here.
then I'll give you my two
I'm still trying to
non-injury.
find a real one.
All right, I'll give you my two non-injury related busts. And the first one is going back to 2000 is Trung candidate drafted in 2000 by the St. Louis Rams. Um, he ended up playing, let's see, he ended up playing 46 games, started 13 of them, and in his career had 1,095 rushing yards, 260 receiving yards. And so, when you compare him to like all the other first round running backs that didn't have an injury thing knock him out early, this guy just never got there. I mean, it just never
Mhm.
happened for him. And I know that he did have some injuries like his rookie year and whatnot, but um, just the potential never added up for him. And so after his 4 years, three with St. Louis, one with Washington, that was that he fizzled out of the league. The other guy, which is in more recent memory for us at least, is Trent Richardson, who was drafted in 2012 out of Alabama by the Cleveland Browns. This guy had 21 games, six starts. Sorry, I just looked at the wrong guy. I was just looking at Dave Wilson. He had 46 games, 37 starts, okay, 2,032 rushing yards, 113 receiving yards. But the thing is, he had almost half of that in his rookie year. He had 950 rush yards his rookie year with 11 touchdowns. And then the guy just never even came close to getting there again. But the big bust for him is the yards per carry. His career best was 3.6 yards per carry in his rookie year. I mean, if you're not four or more, man, you're definitely not going to make it as a starter in the NFL. And so, when we're in an era where you had Mark Ingram, Derrick Henry, whoever else coming out of Alabama, and they were all saying Trent Richardson's the best of the bunch, and then this happens, it was a bummer, man. I mean, it was, a big time disappointment for a lot of people.
Yeah, and see, like the problem I have with running backs is, first of all, you have a lot of years where there's
Just devalued.
no
Yeah.
running backs taken in the first round. Also, like some of these running backs, like in my mind, I think of him as a bust. Like one, Sony Michel. I think of Sony Michel as a bust, but he had decent yards. Or T.J. Yeldon, Willis McGahee. They didn't have like spectacular years, but they had decent seasons in there and decent stats for their career. But in my
Yeah, and
mind,
Sony Michel still had 3,200 rushing yards, compared to
yeah,
like Trunk Candidate or Trent Richardson.
right. But that's what I'm saying. Like I
Yeah.
think of them like coming into the league where they were and where you thought they were and what you think of them like their first year or their careers. Now looking back at it, you realize they actually had decent stats, but they just it's not the eye popping stats that that you you want, or you would like would make them definitely not a bust. But in my head, I kind of see them as a bust, but I can't support it with statistically.
Yeah. No, I hear you, man. And I'm just flipping through here because you've got, what is it like? Is it I'm already at 4 years where you don't have a first round running back. And so I'm just flipping through it. That might be it as just four, but still, four is a lot, man. So you have 4 years since 2000 where there was not a first round running back. It just goes to show you that it got devalued for a huge period of time, man. And so it's kind of like if you were taken as a running back, like teams were just going to run the tires off of you, and if they didn't run the tires off of you, it's because you got hurt. Or in the case of Trent Richardson and Trump candidate, the potential just really never came to fruition.
Yeah, so like these players, like in my head that I think of us, I think it's just they didn't live up to the potential
Yeah.
that I thought they had. And you're right. I'm looking and I'm seeing 4 years as well. But I
Okay.
mean, that's a fifth of it. That's 20% of the drafts since 2000 approximately didn't have a first round running back.
Crazy, man. Crazy. All right. Well, don't need to beat the dead horse. You want to go to the quarterbacks?
Let's do it.
Yeah, there were
God,
a
which
lot
one
of
to
shitty quarterbacks, man.
start
But,
with?
the thing is, it's like the quarterbacks, some of them have passing yards, right? And so it's like, how do you decide really who are the busts? But I mean, I've got a list of like maybe 10 guys that I think you could say were definitely in the bust category for first round quarterbacks, man.
I probably have more than that once I go through.
I mean, I'll
Um,
start here. I'll start with I'll start with one that actually had uh, a lot more stats than anybody else on my list, but he is a bust because he broke our fucking hearts. Bust. Joey Harrington,
Piano
2002.
Boy.
Yeah, Joey Blue Skies. Somehow the dude put up just shy of 15,000 passing yards. But he was so freaking god awful with the Lions, my man. And he had one season over 3,000 passing yards, never had more than 20 touchdowns in a season. I mean, it just, turnover machine. It just was not good, man. Not good with Joey Harrington. He ended up playing 6 years in the NFL,
I
and
mean,
so he's better than most of the other guys I have on my list. But as a Lions fan, it fucking stung.
so you can basically, I would make the argument that all the first round quarterbacks in that entire draft were busts.
Patrick Ramsey and Joey Harrington.
Patrick Ramsey and Patrick Ramsey, Joey Harrington, and David Carr. And the only reason David Carr is because
Oh
he had
yeah,
a lot
I
of
mean I
potential
like
and
David
they didn't
Carr.
protect him.
Yeah,
I
he
like
was just
David
on a
Carr.
shitty ass team.
He was on a shitty ass team. But Patrick Ramsey played 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He was on a team for 7 NFL seasons. He only started 24 games. He had less than 6,000 yards, 56% completion percentage, but he had a decent number of touchdowns.
Yeah,
But still, like
I
when
still
you
put him
draft,
in that bus category. I mean, I got a lot of
yeah,
quarterbacks in the bus category, but yeah.
yeah, and then like you go to like the next year, like that's 2 bad years in a row. I mean, Carson Palmer didn't live up to the potential because he broke his leg.
Carson Palmer was a good quarterback overall.
Yeah,
Dude, if you look at Carson Palmer's career stats, man, Carson Palmer had a really good
no,
career.
I know, he had a really good career. I was just saying, like for Cincinnati, like he broke his leg and that was it. But
Yeah,
you look at
and some of that was the politics between him and the team, right? Like that's where shit fell apart. But I mean, when you look at the dude's career, he threw for 46,000 passing yards, man.
no, I know. I was just knocking Carson Palmer, but
All
I
right.
would
I mean,
really for the
I'm just defending him. I like Carson Palmer, man.
I like him. I was just having fun with it.
All right.
Kyle
And
Bowler and Rex Grossman that next year.
yep. So I didn't even put Rex Grossman on my list, but Kyle Bowler for sure. Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. And I tell you, man, Rex Grossman was tough because when you hear the name, you're thinking, oh my God, but somehow the dude had over 10,000 passing yards, which is more than like any of the
I
other guys I got on my list, man. Oh,
wow, I didn't realize he had so many yards. Like I hear it and I think bust, but
it's just that Chicago gave him a couple seasons to try and make it work, you know?
anyways, Kyle Bowler.
Yeah, Kyle Buller, 8,900
He,
yards, but he had 48 touchdowns to 54 interceptions. Oh, did I lose you?
no, you didn't lose me. I was
Oh,
just looking at it like I think that's another one where I think it was bust, but like really, it's not.
he ended up being kind of like a career backup guy, right? And you know, for his era of the early 2000s, he was really not bad for a career backup kind of guy. It's just that when you're drafted in the first round, people are expecting you to be a starter, and so he was a bust in that regard for sure. How about
So
JP
let's.
Lossman, man? JP
So I was.
Lossman was the year later, and
Mhm.
he ended up finishing his career with 6,271 yards. He ended up hanging around for 7 years, but he only started 33 games. I'm actually shocked he started 33 games. Um, 33 touchdowns, 34 interceptions. You know, it it's it's a bust in my book, but he's like I would say a step below Kyle Buller, where it's like, okay, if you look at like, hey, could he have hung around as a backup or whatever it may be, but you know, teams were obviously trying to make him a starter and it just wasn't happening. First round pick, why not?
Yeah, and then yeah, like you. Sweetie. All right, go downstairs to mommy. No, why? Go downstairs to mommy, sweetie. Why are you acting drunk?
Do you want me to put us on a 10-minute timeout or what are you thinking?
No, Tori's gonna come
Okay.
in a second. And all right, so we're back. We were talking about I forgot who we were talking about.
JP
JP
Lossman.
Lossman. You know, I have problems calling him a bust because he did have 17,000 yards almost
What?
in his career.
No. JP Lossman, 6,271, man.
Oh no, I'm looking at the wrong person. You're right.
It's like, no,
Oh
dude, no way.
my
No way.
goodness.
He never would have made my list if he had that many yards.
So I was looking at Jason Campbell.
Yeah, no,
I
Jason
was looking at
Campbell.
Jason Campbell,
Yeah.
and I went back and so
Yeah,
yeah. So
Jason
okay, I'll
Campbell's
give
a
you
bust if you
JP
compare him to
Lossman.
like fucking Philip Rivers or something. Yeah. All right. How about this one? Matt Leinart. I
I
fucking hated Matt Leinart. Hated him in college, hated him in the pros. He was drafted in 2006, douchebag out of USC, only put up 4,065 career passing yards, 15 touchdowns to 21 interceptions. Basically came in the league. Kurt Warner freaking like commanded that spot and just like shut the dude out, man.
yeah, and with Leinart, like it's just another example of like people overdrafting quarterbacks.
Yeah,
Like he
yeah.
had a decent 1 year decent, maybe 2 years decent at USC, and like he's the next blah 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 blah. Why did I type
Yeah.
Jason?
Him and Vince Young.
Yeah, him and Vince Young, which I don't see Vince Young
Vince
as
Young didn't do well either, but Vince Young put up, more than like 10,000 total yards between rushing and passing. So I didn't put him on the list.
yeah. So with Leinart, the reason why he was drafted so high, well, yeah, okay, he won the Heisman Trophy, big whoop.
Yeah.
He was on a team that was freaking phenomenal.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I mean, he had 11,000 yards in college total. So I mean, that's he's overdrafted. But you go a the year after that, you have two first round quarterbacks. One has stayed around. I have to look up his stats, but I mean, Jamarcus Russell is one of the biggest busts
I was about to
in
get to
draft
him. Yeah,
history.
he's clearly the biggest bust. Yeah, I don't think anybody's ever going to argue that.
I'm confusing Brady Quinn in my head with the guy that kept
I had
latching
Brady
on
Quinn on the
with
list because Brady Quinn
uh,
was a bust too.
yeah, he was a bust. So I was confusing Brady Quinn with with Hoyer, who keeps latching on with teams
Yeah, and Hoyer wasn't a
in my
first
head
round
when I
pick.
started talking. Yeah, right. No, I know, but I was confusing the two
Oh,
in my
all right,
head
all right, all right.
because I think they look. I think they look similar.
So are we going to talk about
But so Brady
Jamarcus
Quinn,
Russell?
he,
Oh, Brady Quinn? Or we're just saying Jamarcus Russell's obvious. Brady Quinn is, out of Notre Dame, you know, man. I mean, he had like one hero year at Notre Dame, but like everybody was saying that he didn't look like he was going to translate to the NFL, and yet Cleveland took him in the first round anyhow, and they got what they deserved, dude. He just like not. I mean, he like didn't even do anything until year three, and even then, he only put up 1,300 yards, man.
yeah. So he had 3 solid years. He had 2 really good years in college at Notre Dame.
Yeah,
He in his college career, he had almost 12,000 yards passing.
yeah, but like, wasn't it like that last year they made like whatever like the big bowl game or whatever? And I mean, he got like a ton of fucking hype, man. But like a lot of people talked about it when you looked at his build, and he was a very muscular quarterback, right? And you know, it's body types don't necessarily mean everything. But when you look at a quarterback, you don't want a guy with big shoulders like that because they say you're not going to get like the right throwing moment or momentum and motion and all that stuff because you have bigger shoulder muscles kind of hindering some of that. And I remember some of that was like the knock on him, which came out later on
Mm-hmm.
also with Tim Tebow. And so I don't know that it's like a surefire, it's not going to work, but it's one of the things that these scouts look at as a red flag for the NFL.
Yeah,
You're thinking I'm crazy.
Jamarcus
I'm talking
Russell.
about guys'
Like,
shoulders.
no, I, I didn't go that in depth with it. So you lost me when you started talking about muscular shoulders and
No,
Jamarcus Russell.
I'm going back to the scouting reports, right? Of what I remember being the red flags with a couple of these quarterbacks, because it wasn't just Brady Quinn, it was also Tim Tebow. It was, hey man, when you're built a certain way, and for quarterbacks, you don't want them to have muscular shoulders like that because it somehow, I guess, hinders their throwing motion or whatever. So
Do you want to talk about Jamarcus Russell or not?
yeah, give me the beef on Jamarcus, man, and the purple punch or whatever it was that he was drinking.
Purple. Oh,
You remember what he was
so
like
Jamarcus
mixing codeine in his slushies or whatever?
Jamarcus Russell, like he was in the league for 3 years and gone. He had he had decent college stats. Not that good, not superb.
He was drafted on size and potential. He was drafted on the dude's massive, and he has a massive arm. And of course,
Yeah,
he was drafted to the fucking Raiders that draft people on physical ability. I mean, they could have drafted fucking Brady Quinn and Tim Tebow. I mean, that's how Al Davis was, right? If you were a physical freak that hadn't been seen in years, we're drafting you in the first round. And Jamarcus Russell was first overall, fortunately. So they got like the biggest burn of all.
So get this, and I'm going back to news reports on it. First of all, Matt Millen said in 2015 he warned the Raiders not to draft Russell after Russell was removed from a pre-draft interview for being overly distracted.
Okay.
Raiders coach Lane Kiffin said he didn't want to draft Russell. He wanted to draft Calvin Johnson instead.
Well, of course, everybody wanted Calvin Johnson, right? Except for Al Davis.
And
when you're in quarterback hell, it's hard to take a wide receiver, right? You're kind of forced to take a quarterback, but it just sucks that they took him because it set him back years.
Yeah, you draft the quarterback high, you're going to overvalue the quarterbacks, and then if you miss, it sets you back years.
And this was back when you were paying, top dollar for a quarterback, man. I mean, they came out without even played a snap, and they were like top 5 salary at their position. It was crazy until they like fucking restructured all that in the CBA, man. So Jamarcus Russell got paid mega millions respectively at that time for what he put up on the field, man.
Yeah. No, 100%. Like there's quarterbacks on the list that like I think of as again, I think of as bust because they didn't have the longevity.
Yeah.
But when you look them up, like I think of Mark Sanchez as a bust, but like he had a couple good years.
No, let me give you a couple of my other names.
All right.
All right, so we talked about Brady Quinn. I've got Tim Tebow, E.J. Manuel, Johnny Manziel, Paxton Lynch. Johnny Manziel, Paxton Lynch, and Josh Rosen. Those are the rest of the names on my list. I mean, Josh Rosen was so bad that they drafted a first-round quarterback like the immediate next year, right? Isn't that when Arizona went Rosen, Murray?
Next year.
Yeah. And then Paxton Lynch was a first-round, unexpected, like later first-round pick, but didn't matter. Everybody was shocked when Denver drafted him. And that dude, I mean, I got to pull up his stats. I don't know that, I don't know what he ever even did. I mean, it was like just garbage time. I don't know if he ever got a fucking start, man. Paxton Lynch, 792 total career yards. He had 4 starts, 5 games, 4 starts. I mean, dude, 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. I mean, it just you're talking one of the worst. Obviously, Johnny Manziel belongs in there. He fucking disgraced Cleveland. And Tebow, a great guy, great character, great story. Horrible, horrible, horrible fucking NFL quarterback, man.
Yeah, and like you have other ones that I would add to the list, and the only reason I add this person to the list is because of the situation going into the draft. I'm trying to find where he was picked because I was really high on this. Everyone was really high on this guy, even though he only played Trey Lance.
We got our 2-minute warning, by the way, but yeah, keep going.
Trey Lance, fucking huge bust, especially how much they traded for him. Yeah, he's still hanging on in the league somewhere, but I mean,
yeah, I didn't put him on the list because he was more recent than 2020, but you can definitely put him in the bust category because it's like less than a fucking 0.1% chance he's ever going to come back and have a career now, right?
Yeah, so they gave up. San Francisco gave up their first in 21, their first in 22, third in 22, and first in 23.
Yeah, that's fucking nuts.
And then everybody assumed that they were trading up to pick
Mac Jones,
who is bust adjacent.
Yeah, he's busted Jason. He's had some stats and he's still floating around, but he's definitely in the lower tier.
Yeah, and like people, and then you have Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah, but his was didn't he die? And
He
he
died.
had
He was out of the NFL when he died.
okay, was all right, he was okay. So I thought he was still I knew he had some off the field something, and then all right, but all right, either way, I got you. Yep.
Yeah, so he was.
We're down to about 30 seconds too.
I guess he was still in the league. Yeah, he was still in the league. Okay.
Well, what do you want to do? You want to take a 10-minute and then keep going, or do you want to shut it down?
Gridiron Grinder. Hut hut hike.